besties, welcome back to my book channel, and today we're going to be ranking all of my recent reads from worst to best, and I am so excited for this video for so many reasons, but the biggest reason is in the first 3 months of 2026, I was able to find one 5-star read, and then the magical month of April came along and I found so many. I found all of them in 1 month, and it was just the most incredible month of the year so far because I found so many good books. And when I say so many, I mean 4 new 5-star reads. And on top of that, I had 2 5-star rereads. And so when I had to rank all of these books in this video, it was next to impossible, but lock in, strap in, because we are gonna have such a good ranking video today. I have the most amount of books I've ever had to talk about in a wrap-up video before because I read the most I think I've ever read in my entire life in the months of April and May. Right off the bat, I did not have any bad books in the last few months. I feel like all of them were baseline pretty good, but the first book that I have to talk about, and therefore my least favorite book that I read in the last 2 months, is Tom Lake by Ann Patchett. This is actually really surprising to me. When I picked up this book, I thought I was really going to enjoy it. In this book, we're following our main character, Laura, who is the mother of 3 daughters, and they live on an orchard. It's the year 2020, and her 3 daughters are all grown up, and they are coming back home due to the pandemic to spend time with their parents and essentially help them out with the orchard. And right at the beginning of the book, her 3 daughters learn that Laura actually used to date this very famous actor named Peter Duke. And her daughters are basically begging her to tell them the story of her growing up and dating Peter Duke, this famous actor. What was that like? Why did she leave acting to become a farmer? I really enjoy the concept of this book. I also loved the audiobook. Meryl Streep is the voice actress for this book, so if you're gonna read it, I honestly recommend the audiobook over the physical book. But quite honestly, I just didn't emotionally connect with the characters or with the story. I could not care less, which is so shocking because I love this idea of daughters realizing that their parents had a life before they were born, and just that whole concept. I feel like that's sort of what the story centers on. But I just didn't care. I didn't care about any of the characters. I had no emotional investment. There was a romance, obviously, that kind of persists throughout, and I just didn't care. And I'm so sorry. So many people love this book, and I do still recommend it because of how many people love it, and I appreciated what it was going for. I just lacked the emotional investment that I think was needed to really love this book the way that I wanted to. The next book that I have to talk about, we're switching up genres a little bit here, is Vow of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. I rated this a solid 3-star. I still enjoyed this book. I had a good time reading it. This is the second book in the Dance of Thieves duology. It is YA fantasy, and honestly, my biggest gripe about this series is they're marketed as very fantasy, romantasy heavy books, but there's no magic in them. And when I finished the first book, I was really hoping that the world and the magic system would just grow and there would be so much more of it in this book, but honestly, there was not a lot more magic in it, which was unfortunate. I obviously can't tell you very much about this book, but in the first book in this series, we're following Kazi and Jace, who come from completely different parts of the lands of the kingdom. Kazi grew up as a street thief to the point where she got recognized by the queen and is now a personal assistant's not the right word, but she starts working for the queen. And then on the other side of these lands, Jace is the son of the patriarch who passes away, and so he becomes the new leader of that area. Due to a mission that the queen sends Kazi on, she encounters Jace and things happen. I honestly just didn't feel that this book was very memorable. When I was kind of planning out this wrap-up video, I forgot everything that happened in this book, and I feel that is really telling of how much the story stuck with me. And I do still recommend these books. They just didn't quite land with me the way that I thought they were going to. I will say Mary E. Pearson's writing is very lyrical, it's very poetic, and I like her storytelling. I just, again, for me, it is make or break with a book. I have to connect with the characters. And since I wasn't head over heels invested in Kazi or Jace, it didn't stick with me. And so yeah, not a standout read. Still good, It's not my favorite thing I've ever picked up. Okay, now at this point, I feel like we're in very solid book territory. Like everything after this point was a good book, which is just crazy. I don't feel like that's how things normally go for me. I'm very critical and very particular with my books. And so the next book that I have to talk about is How to Write a Love Story by Catherine Walsh. This was Catherine Walsh's newest release. And if you guys watched my reading vlog, then you would know that I was so excited about picking up this book. This was definitely a 5-star prediction for me. I have loved Catherine Walsh's holiday romances that she has released. And so when I heard that she was coming out with a contemporary romance, I was like, oh my goodness, I need to get my hands on that ASAP. And so in this story, we're following our main character, Kira, and her father was this incredibly famous writer of a fantasy series. It was supposed to be a 10-book series, but he passed away before he could finish writing the 10th book. And in his will, he basically says, I want my daughter Kira to finish writing this series for me. She's an author, but obviously she is so heartbroken and so depressed about her father's passing that the idea of not only grieving him, but like picking up his whole universe with this crazy fan base, like it's just so scary and so sad and so overwhelming for her. And so the company who is like the publisher for her dad's book series sends out an editor named Sam. And so Kira and Sam are meant to work together on getting this series or like getting this final book completed. And it is obviously a romance. They fall in love. It's really cute. It takes place in Ireland. All of Catherine Walsh's books take place in Ireland, which I think is really, really fun. I loved the setting of this story. And with this book, my biggest issue was that I felt like we were being told over and over again that Kira had feelings for Sam and that Sam was developing feelings for Kira, but I just like did not feel it. I don't know if the buildup wasn't done properly for me or what, but I cared so much more about like the plot and the characters and the book series getting done. Like, how is this 10th book gonna go? A lot more than I cared about the actual romance. And since this is a romance book, I do feel like that's a little bit problematic. You know how there's some book couples you're just like, I don't know if that's gonna work. Like, in a year, like check in on them in a year, like will that work out? I don't know, because I just don't feel like the groundwork was really laid properly. And on top of that, I felt like it wrapped up too quickly. Like there were things about the publication of the book that they'd been working on that I really would have loved to see. And we didn't really get to see, without any spoilers, quite as much as I wanted to from the story and like how everything worked out. And so that was a little bit disappointing to me. I still rated this a 3.5, 3.75, kind of in that range. It's fun. I read it by the pool. Such a good book to pick up by the pool, but just wasn't my favorite. Probably won't stick with me in the years to come. Up next, we have Wildside by Elsie Silver. And these are just the most fun, fluffy, light romance books, small town romance books. They're perfect to read before bed. If you guys know me, then you know that I don't like scary things. I don't like spooky things. I don't like things that are going to make my heart race too much. And especially when it comes to the 30 minutes to an hour before bed, I want a slow, cozy, fun story that is going to put me to sleep. And honestly, Elsie Silver's books are perfect for that. I literally barely read this in any other setting besides in the 30 minutes before I went to sleep. And I had so much fun with this book. This is, I want to say, book 3 in the Rose Hill series, which means I have one more book left to go. And in this story, we have our FMC Tabitha, who at the beginning of the book, her sister passes away. And so she immediately becomes the primary guardian of her nephew, her sister's son. And this gets complicated very quickly because we learn that her sister actually left legal guardianship to her next door neighbor named Reese. And Tabitha and Reese sort of ended on bad terms the last time that they saw each other. But the only way that they're able to sort of make this arrangement work is by having a marriage of convenience. And there are more reasons for that I won't get into because I do think it's more fun to kind of see how that story evolves and how it takes place. But this was by far my favorite in the series that I've read so far. I don't consider Elsie Silver's books like anything crazy or anything like mind-blowing, but they're purely entertaining reads. And so if you guys are looking for something fun, something spicy, something sexy, something small town with like found family, all of that kind of stuff, I do recommend these books. Perfect like palate cleanser energy. I loved it. I really did have such a good time with this book, to the point where I immediately jumped into her next book in the series, series that I'm currently reading as my before bed book. So I'm not talking about that one in this video because I just started it, but they're so perfect to read to like put you to sleep, which sounds terrible, but like they're good. They're fun. The next book that I have to talk about is If We Were Villains by LaRue, and we are now in solid 4-star territory. Okay. This is not a book that was at all on my radar. You guys have probably never heard me talk about it. You were like, whoa, this is kind of out of left field, not in a TBR video, not in a vlog, not in a recommendations video. What made you pick that book up? And to that, I would say my book club. My book club does a really good job pushing me to read books, not necessarily out of my comfort zone, but out of my normal genre choice, I guess. I just wouldn't probably go for a dark academia book, especially in the summertime. But I surprisingly really enjoyed this book. In this story, we are following a group of, I think it's 7 actors. They are in school at this like conservatory where they perform different Shakespearean plays every single year. It's kind of like college, but for Shakespearean actors specifically. And at the beginning of the book, we are with our main character, Oliver, many years later, and we see that he is about to get released from prison for a crime that we don't know if he actually committed. And so the whole book is going back and forth between these two timelines of Oliver telling his truth, like talking about what actually happened with his 6 thespian actor theatrical kids back when this whole crime took place. And so we kind of go back and forth between, as I said, the present timeline and when they were all young college kids performing and acting. And it's really fun because you can see how the characters, they lose themselves in the parts that they're playing in the play. So like they become so conflated. So like it becomes complicated. Are you acting right now? Are you being yourself? Like, are you the villain? Are you the hero? I don't know if that's making any sense, but there are very blurred lines because these characters get so connected to the characters that they're playing. And I just had such a good time reading this book. I will say I primarily listened to the audiobook, and the audiobook was phenomenal. Had a great time. Wouldn't recommend picking it up at this time of year though. I really would suggest waiting until the fall or winter time. I think this would have been so perfect and so atmospheric in the fall and winter time personally, but that's just my 2 cents. I really enjoyed this book. The next book that I finished was I guess I didn't finish it next, but the next book that I have to talk about is The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien. And this is the second book in the Lord of the Rings series. I am so proud of myself for finishing this book because this got selected on so many TBRs, and each month I didn't read it, but you know what? I read it this time, and I think I deserve a pat on the back for that because these are thick books. The audiobooks are over 20 hours. They're insane. I had I was going to say such a good time reading this book, but honestly, the first 50% was transparently so boring. Like I was trudging through the first half of this book, but the second half of this book was so fun, so fast-paced, so entertaining, and I absolutely loved it. I won't dive into this book and world much because I feel like it's so iconic that it would just be a bit silly, but I will say at a glance, in this series, it's an epic fantasy adventure series where we're following our main character Frodo, who is a young hobbit, and he gets tasked to destroy this very powerful ring. And so in order to do so, him among our other cast of characters form this fellowship to go on an adventure to get this ring completely destroyed. And the series kind of goes from there. The movies are so good. I love the whole Lord of the Rings franchise. And so I really did want to go back and read the actual books. And I listened to this one entirely on audio, and the audiobook was phenomenal. Cannot stress enough how much I loved the audiobook of this book. Like it was just so good. I read the whole first book physically, really preferred my audiobook listening experience. I loved it so much. I don't really rate, like I feel like this is kind of getting into classics territory, and I don't really like to rate classics, but if I did have to kind of put it in this video in terms of enjoyment, this is where I would put it. So I guess kind of like 4-star energy, but like I'm not saying it's a 4-star with my whole chest. It's just kind of like this is where it fits into this video in terms of ranking. I just don't really like to rank classics because they're so different from everything else that I read. Yeah, if you've been looking for a sign to pick up these books, hello, I am your sign. They're so fun and they're so good. Great fall reads. Again, I don't know why I'm reading the wrong season right now, but excellent story. Y'all know I have been on a bit of a journey with cozy fantasy and the cozy fantasy genre because for years I thought I did not like it, and apparently I was wrong. Apparently I just needed to start listening to audiobooks of cozy fantasy. I definitely think I am the type of girl who loves an action-packed story. I love good plot, I love good characters, I love exciting action things. That's like, if you know me, you know I like those things. However, I do also love like a cozy activity, a cozy craft, crocheting, painting, like anything like that. And I've learned over the last year or so that listening to cozy fantasy audiobooks is actually elite, and it makes me really like those stories. And so the next book that I have to talk to you guys about is clearly Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. And the reason I said all of that is because if I read this physically, I honestly don't know if I would have enjoyed it. I think I might have been pretty bored, but because I listened to this book mostly on audio, I think that's really what enhanced my experience. And in this book, we have our main character, Dora, and she, right at the beginning of the book, loses half of her soul to this like fae creature. He takes half her soul, and what that means for Dora is that she can't really feel half of her emotions. So she can't feel embarrassment or fear. And if you think about that, that makes her a very awkward girl because she can't like experience these feelings that most people can. And so the whole book is a Regency story. So it's set in England. We're watching a bunch of girls as they try to find matches. But since she's not afraid of anything and nothing can embarrass her, she doesn't have a filter on what she says, what she does. And so it made her a very entertaining character to watch, and very awkward and very silly, kind of like Emily Wilde, but without the academia part, like kind of like a younger, more awkward, maybe not more awkward, just awkward in a different way version of Emily Wilde, if you guys have read that cozy fantasy series. And I really, really loved this book. There's also a romance in here that's really cute and really sweet. And so if you're like me, which you're watching this video, so maybe you are, I suggest picking this one up on audio. I definitely read a lot more of my books physically overall, but I loved the audio experience of this, and I do plan to continue this series. I think it's a duology, questionably, question mark. So if it is, which I think it is, I will be continuing this on audio. Loved this. I did really quickly just want to jump into this video and let you guys know that signups for the July Cozy Reader Club are going to be open through June 1st. So if you guys sign up by June 1st, you can receive a letter from me and my mail club in your mailbox. And if you guys are new to me or my channel, I run a mail club for readers where I send my subscribers cozy paper bookish goods in the mail every single month with the intent to scroll less and read more. And so here is a previous letter that I have sent to my subscribers. Each month, everyone gets a word game with an answer key on the back, a personal signed letter from me written about bookish inklings, bookish things that I am thinking about that month, the shining star of the whole show, a newspaper that I write called the Cozy Reader News, talking about new book releases that are coming out in the upcoming month that you guys should keep an eye out for at the bookstore, along with some articles on the back talking about things that are currently going on in the bookish community. Everyone gets a bookmark in the month of, I think this was March. You get a really cute double-sided bookmark. Absolutely obsessed with this one. So if you guys happen to be interested in joining the Cozy Reader Club where we can scroll less and read more, and just receiving these fun cozy paper goods in the mail every single month, I'm gonna link my mail club in the description box down below. It is literally so much fun, and some exciting things are coming to the Cozy Reader Club very soon. But that is it from me. So let's get back to the ranking my recent reads from worst to best. Guys, kill me now. Kill me now. How are we halfway through this video, basically? I don't know. And the rest of the books in this video are 5 stars. Oh my God. Okay, so what I've done is I assigned some of them 5 stars and then a fair few teeny couple as like elite 6-star reads, just to kind of give some scope and ranking into this video. So like my favorites of the 5 stars, which feels illegal because I loved them all. And so I have 6 more books still to talk about. 6. This has never happened and may never happen again, so enjoy it, guys. 2 of them are rereads, so we expected them to be 5 stars, but 4 of them are not. 4 of them are new 5-star reads for me. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm probably not gonna find any more for the whole rest of the year because this has never happened to me in my entire life. I still don't know how to feel about this. I'm going to literally do a reader's worst nightmare and rank my 5-star reads. This is giving me a stomachache. So the first 5-star read that I have to talk about is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. And guys, this was not a 5-star the first time that I read it. Okay, crazy. This was a probably a solid 4-star read when I read it for the first time. But when I read it the second time, first of all, could not put this book down, was absolutely addicted. Don't remember feeling that way the first time that I read it. I feel like maybe the reason for that is because I have read this entire series, and so I am already emotionally invested in the characters and everything that I know that's going to happen to them, which I didn't feel that way the first time that I read this book. The second thing, the foreshadowing that Sarah J. Maas does in this book was immaculate, chef's kiss, absolutely elite, so good that I loved this book so much that I bumped it to a 5-star, which is crazy. I think I read the second half of this book in one sitting, which I'm not normally like a read a book in one sitting type of person. I definitely spread my books out. So that was already shocking enough. This is so good. I loved it so much. If you guys are thinking about rereading ACOTAR, I highly recommend it, especially because the new books are coming out in October. We're getting the first Sarah J. Maas new book in the ACOTAR series, and I didn't realize how much I forgot. And so that is why I'm doing my reread of this series. Loved this so much. I'm not going to tell you guys about the plot because everyone and their mother knows about the plot of these. The next book kind of shocked me just a little bit. I can't even deny it. The next 5-star book that I have to talk to you guys about that I am absolutely obsessed with and will not ever shut up about was One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. This is book 2 in the Every Summer After series. It's a duology. I have very mixed feelings, very complicated feelings about the first book in this series, Every Summer After, because I would have rated the first like 80% of it a 5-star, but I completely despised the ending. Like, I hated the ending more than maybe I've hated an ending of a book ever. Like, it just did things that I cannot stand, things that I cannot forgive. And so I feel very complicated. I have very complicated feelings about that book. But I did want to pick up this book because I had seen so many people love it. And I was like, oh my gosh, the weather is so beautiful in Texas right now. I need to pick it up and read it by the pool. And that's what I did. And I freaking loved it. In this book, we have our main character, Alice, and she is a photographer. And right at the beginning of the book, her nan, like her grandma, but she calls her nan, which I think is so cute, takes a fall and breaks her hip. And so she's kind of sad and depressed, as I think anyone would be. And so Alice is like, how can I really help my nan to have a good summer? How can I make this the best summer for her after taking a bad fall and all of that kind of thing? They end up deciding to go to their family friend's house that's on this lake. So it's a lake house, and Alice grew up going there. And Alice is also going through a breakup with a guy that she had been with for a really long time, so she's struggling a bit too. And so it's just her and her grandma, and they go to this lake house, and it's really fun and it's really cute. And Charlie, the boy who lives across the lake, has sort of been tasked to make sure that they have a good stay and a good experience at their family friend's house. And Alice and Charlie absolutely fall in love, and I loved this book. I guess the reason I'm a little bit surprised is because I was not obsessed with Charlie's character in the first book in this series. If you know, you know. I was like, I hate this man. And then he really had a good redemption arc in this one. So I loved this book. I rated it 5 stars. I sat right here in this chair and basically read the whole freaking book at once, which again, I don't really do, and bawled my freaking eyes out at the end. And it was so good. I loved this book. Chef's kiss. So good. Strap in because this one's about to be very controversial, but this book was so good, and I'm so happy that this was a 5-star. You guys have been asking me for my feelings on this book. I've been getting a lot of questions in the comments in my videos lately. I rated this book 5 stars, and I'm going to make it my whole entire personality, and I will tell you why that is really controversial. So, in this book, we are following 2 main characters. We have Larissa and Chris. And Larissa is a very, she's sort of a workaholic, but nothing is kind of working for her. Like, she has 10 different side jobs. She is doing everything that she can to make ends meet. She lives with her mom in not the best part of town, but you can tell that she's really, really driven and wants to sort of improve her situation. Then we also have Chris, who is a pharmacist. He's doing pretty well for himself. He finds this stray dog on the side of the road and sort of adopts said dog. So those are our 2 characters. The way that they meet is complicated. So Larissa goes to a concert right at the beginning of this book, and at the concert she meets Chris, and she also meets Mike, who is Chris's best friend, and she ends up asking Mike for a ride home. They hit it off and they start dating. So what I'm trying to tell you is the trope of this book is boyfriend's best friend. So Larissa and Chris obviously fall in love, but at the start of this book, Larissa is dating Mike. Now, hear what I have to say with caution. When I talk about this book and recommend it to people, I honestly am like, am I a bad person because I loved this book so much? I want you guys to know that I am someone who is extremely, extremely sensitive to anything cheating trope in a book. Like if there is any cheating whatsoever in a book mentioned, touched on, referenced, I won't read that book. I will DNF it pretty much instantly. And so I was really, really scared that one of my favorite authors was making a book where someone has a boyfriend and she falls in love with someone else. I personally feel like the way that this was done was so incredible, so realistic, and I related to Larissa so much. Like there were qualities in Larissa where I was like, I don't know if I've seen myself more in a character ever. Like her tendency to work really hard, her tendency to do things for people, and Chris too. Like I loved him as a main character. I just absolutely am obsessed with this book. I think a lot of people aren't going to like it, transparently, because of everything that I've said up to this point. I ate it up. I absolutely loved it and could not put it down. If you hate this book, I'm sorry, but personally, I loved it. Okay, guys, we're in 6-star territory now, which like all of these are perfect to me. It's just the structure of this video literally forced me to choose the best books. And so that's crazy. Okay, so not really going to talk about this too much, but the next book that I did reread was A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. Who was going to tell me that a reread was literally better than the first time through? I know we're all saying, oh my God, I would sell my soul to read this book again for the first time. I wouldn't. I literally liked rereading it better than I liked reading it for the first time. This book was so good. The romance, so good. I kicking my feet, screaming. And the second that I finished this book, all that I wanted to do was to go pick up A Court of Wings and Ruin immediately. But I am trying to have some sort of restraint, some self-control, and not just fly through the entire series all at once, because then several months are going to go by and I will have forgotten things all over again before October. So I'm spreading it out. I am not reading A Court of Wings and Ruin quite yet, but I loved this book. 6 stars, 7 stars, 10 stars if I could. This was fantastic. We have 2 books left, and these 2 books at this point are my favorite books of the year. And quite honestly, choosing which one I liked better, oh my God, illegal. Some of these, it's like every day I would probably shuffle the order of these around because I just loved them all so much. So with great pride and great joy, I am here to tell you that the next book that I picked up that literally basically changed my life, changed my brain chemistry, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. Who's surprised? Not me. Literally not me. Why did it take me so long to read this book? This went viral on the internet years ago. V.E. Schwab is one of my favorite authors in the entire world. Why did I put this book off so long? You tell me, guys. You tell me. When this video is uploaded, you guys will have seen that I filmed a reading vlog where I was searching for a 5-star read, and a lot of the books in this video were in that vlog, but at the end of that video, I did find The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and there is quite a good bit of footage of me bawling my eyes out in that video because of the way that this ending just smacked me upside the head. I don't even have words for how much I loved this book. So in the story, we have our main character, Addie, and it's 1714, and she is about to basically be forced to marry this guy that she does not want to marry in her small town in France. And she ends up making a deal with the devil, essentially, basically begging to be free. She's like, I just want a life of freedom, a life where I don't have to marry people that I don't want to. I can do whatever I want. And her wish gets granted, but these gods are complicated and they're tricky with their words. And so she ends up making this deal on accident where she can live forever. She's immortal, but people cannot remember her, which in a sense is the ultimate freedom. So we get 2 timelines, her experiencing this curse in France and beyond, and then also present day in New York City 300 years later when a boy named Henry remembers her. I won't say more, but the writing, the storytelling, the way that I was in my head best friends with Addie and Henry by the end of this book. Like, they were my besties, and the ending literally ripped my heart out, and I still haven't recovered. I loved this so much, and I'm still kind of in a book hangover from reading it. I can't even lie. Like, everything I've picked up since grabbing this book, not quite doing it for me because it was just that good. That is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I beg you, I urge you to pick this book up. It changed my life. I loved it. Okay, my friends, we are at the last book in this video, which means we are at my favorite book that I have read in the last few months, and I have not talked about this book on my channel basically at all. And I don't know if this is shocking or surprising or what, but right now, as it stands, this is my favorite book of 2026. Like, I am obsessed with it. And that book was Broken Country by Claire Leslie Hall. Guys, this book is so good. Whatever this was, someone please, if you know of any books that are similar to this in terms of vibe, feel, plot, please let me know in the comment section down below, because I just want to read this book over and over and over again because I loved it so much. It's honestly a little bit complicated to explain what this book is about because I personally felt like it was the intersection of several genres balanced so perfectly. It was a mystery, it was a fiction story, and it was a romance. Like, it was equally all 3 of those things in my mind. And so in this book, we have our main character, Beth, and she is married to Frank. They're both farmers and they're living a really beautiful, happy life. And at the beginning of the book, a dog runs onto their property and starts killing their sheep. And so Beth's brother-in-law pretty much only has one choice: to kill the dog, which is really, really sad and really heartbreaking. But he kills the dog, but then the owner of the dog runs up to their house and he's like, oh my God, what's happening with his son? And Beth realizes that her ex-boyfriend from when she was young, Gabriel, it was his son's dog. And so the kid is crying. It's this whole traumatic start to the story. And when she sees Gabriel's son, Beth is reminded of the son that she lost in a tragic accident. That is, all of this is on the blurb. This is not spoilers. And so Beth and Gabriel used to be lovers. And for her and Frank's relationship, it really is best if that connection stays buried in the past, but obviously it doesn't because Gabriel's back in town, and so obviously they're going to reconnect, and his son reminds her of her son, and it's very confusing and it's very complicated. I loved this book so much. Like, oh, guys, please somebody read this book so we can talk about it in the comment section. The ending, like, there were things that happened honestly halfway on and after that just, like, I was so shocked by, like, the twists and the turns and the things that happen. Oh, also, I will say the very first line in the blurb of this book says, the farmer is dead, he is dead, and all anyone wants to know is who killed him. So we know that somebody dies at the beginning of this book. You don't know who, you don't know how, you don't know why, and oh my God, was I trying to figure it out this whole freaking book? Yeah, I was shook to my core by the plot, by how invested I was in this book. And I will say, when I read this book, like when I picked it up, I wasn't super in the mood to read it. Again, it's so hard. I can't really tell you guys what this book is about because a lot of the fun of it, I would say, is sort of these twists and turns and the plot sort of going in a direction that you don't expect. So if that's vague or doesn't sound like the most interesting thing to you, that's okay. I really, really loved this book and cannot stress enough. Please read it. Please, please read it. I don't know if anybody was counting, but I read 13 books in the last approximately 2 months, which is absolutely insane. I am so proud of myself. I usually read closer to like 8 books in a 2-month period, so 13 is crazy for me. I never do this. If you guys made it all the way to this point in the video, comment down below. How about we do some farm animals? Any farm animal for Broken Country, so I know who made it all the way here. And of course, if you guys are interested in signing up for my meal club so we can be bookish pen pals, I will link the Cozy Reader Club in the description box down below. I would love to have you. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you guys are interested in seeing any more bookish videos from me. I hope you guys are having a great day and a great reading month, and I will see you next Saturday for my next bookish upload. Bye!